Good afternoon. I want to thank, or whatever the time of day it is, wherever you are, I want to say thank you for being with us today. We are going to look at some different ideas today, and I want to start with a couple of quotes by Dr. Ernest Holmes. And one of them is from the Science of Mind textbook: fear is the greatest enemy of man. But fear is a material attitude and a mental attitude, and as such can be converted into something else. Fear is the reverse mental attitude of faith, and is the result of lack of faith. Fear brings limitation and lack in its weight and destroys the happiness and possibility of a greater degree of livingness to those who suffer from it. And in Creative Living, he says, what the whole world has believed operates through us, but we are not aware of it. We should not be surprised that we all carry around with us thoughts that deny this supremacy of good. However, we know that one kind of thought can erase another one. And also from the Science of Mind text, should we learn to contemplate those things which are desirable and to forget the rest, we should soon overcome fear through faith. Both are mental. Let us learn to reverse the thoughts of fear and mutate them into faith. We are living in a time where many of us are succumbing to stress and fear. And at least where I live in Ohio, we have a governor's press conference every day at 2:00 that I think that he has spoken every day, probably for the last 30 days, except for one, which was Sunday, for at least an hour and sometimes 30 minutes. I mean, sometimes an hour and a half, talking about what's going on with the coronavirus. We even have, besides the president's press conferences, we even have press conferences by the mayor of the closest city, the dual health departments, and everything else. My youngest daughter has stopped watching TV at all because she cannot handle the trailer, the footnote that runs at the bottom of it that expresses what's going on in this area, in this county, and the number of deaths and the number of cases and what's going on and everything else. She just can't handle it. So she's had to stop watching TV at all, which is one reason her basement flooded last night, because she didn't realize we were supposed to get major rains, and she had filled up her fountain, and then we got extremely heavy rains, and the fountain flooded her basement. I told her she was going to have to start watching the weather some, so I'm now sending her daily updates on the weather so she will know what's going on. She is a very compassionate, sensitive woman, as many of us are. And as I said, she just cannot handle the news. And her sister actually sent her something on Facebook about using pressure points on your hands to relieve stress. And her response to her sister shortly thereafter was, well, she had pulled off her fingers, so now she couldn't page through the Facebook anymore. So she is a very stressed out young woman. And I hope that all of you are in much better shape. But as Holmes tells us, we operate through the beliefs of the world, and we're not aware of it. So how do we keep this, as he called it, race consciousness or cultural consciousness, or the news consciousness, from driving us absolutely nuts right now? How do we continue to tap into the knowingness that it's all God and it's all good, and that we are God expressing absolutely perfectly in every moment, when around us nothing is the way it was last month at this time. How do we release this fear? How do we release this stress? How do we become more centered and more aware of life as we want to live it? And I was thinking about this, and I actually had a call last week from one of my congregants from the church I founded in Cincinnati. And she asked me to do a short video on keeping a gratitude journal. And I thought, wow, one way we can shift our thoughts of fear is to concentrate on gratitude. Someone who has said, and I can't find the quote, and it could have been Ernest Holmes, and it could have been Gerald Jampolsky, and it could have been somebody else entirely different. But somebody has said that fear and faith can't survive in the same place. They're different vibrations. Fear is a very low vibration. Faith, gratitude, and love are a very high vibration. So if love and fear cannot be in the same vibration and in the same feeling in the same place, I believe that if we are focusing on gratitude and focusing on what we're thankful for, that we no longer vibrate at the vibration of fear and stress. So that's what we're going to look at today. How can we move beyond fear and stress and embrace gratitude? Arianna Huffman, in her book Thrive, made the following statement. According to a study by researchers from the University of Minnesota and the University of Florida, having participants write down a list of positive events at the close of a day, and why those events made them happy, lowered their self-reported stress levels, and gave them a greater sense of calm at night. So here's an example confirmed by university test, that when we concentrate on those things that make us happy and those things that we're grateful for, we release stress. And when we release fear, when we release stress, I also believe we release fear. And I'm sure that at some point in most of you's life, you have kept a gratitude journal. And if you haven't, all you need is a pencil and some paper. If you have a journal or a notebook to keep it in, that is awesome. Under the circumstances, if you don't want to go out and buy a journal or a notebook right now, when you don't want to get out and communicate with those around you, just staple some pages together and keep whatever you decide to keep this journal in, keep it by your nightstand. Because writing down those things that have made you happy during the day and that you're grateful for at night help you to calm down and help you to sleep better. Some of the benefits of a gratitude journal, again, are lowering your stress level, feeling more calm at night. You actually gain a new perspective of what is important to you and how you deeply and what you appreciate in your life. You gain clarity on what you want more of in your life. And it also gives you a way to focus on things that are really matter and important. It also helps you to learn more about yourself and to become more self-aware. Your gratitude journal is for your eyes only. It's not something that somebody else should read. It's something that you can write your feelings in without judgment. So that means that in 3 months, if you want to read your gratitude journal, you don't judge yourself either. You just accept that that's where you were at that point and move on. And on the days that you don't feel real great, or you don't feel real grateful, you can read your gratitude journal and remember the things that were important to you. The suggestion is to plan to write every night for 15 minutes when you go to bed. You can even set an alarm on your phone or your calendar to help you to remember to do this. And if you lay your journal or your paper on your nightstand beside the bed, you're even more likely to remember to do it. And by seeing your journal there, maybe during the day, it will help you remember things that you're grateful for and that you want to write down. And you can write as many things as you want to that you're grateful for, but usually 5 is a good place to start. And, you know, when you're writing things that you're grateful for, I highly suggest that you don't write the same thing every day. Most of the time, we're all grateful for our families, or we're all grateful for our partner, or we're all grateful for maybe the same thing every day. Maybe you're grateful that your dog makes you get out and take a walk every day, but that's not what you want to write down every day. You want to tap into something new, something that touches you at a deeper level. Because by the time you've done this for a week or so, and you make an effort to write something different every single day, you're getting into a much deeper level of what you are grateful for and what is important to you. And you can also write why the things or how the things that you have listed that you're grateful for, how are they important to you? You love your dog, and maybe the reason is he makes sure you get out and exercise. You love your children because they help you feel loved. And it doesn't have to be something big. Sometimes when we start with gratitude journals, we're not in a place to feel very grateful. So start with the little things. Maybe you're grateful you were able to get out of bed this morning, or grateful that you had hot water to take a shower, or toothpaste to brush your teeth with. It can be something that simple. And as you embrace gratitude at a deeper level, you begin to find the things that truly make you happy, the things that you deeply appreciate in every way in your life. And as I said, the more thought that you put into this, the more time that you do it, the greater the benefit is. One of the benefits of setting a specific time to do it every day is that you get it done. And if you do this for maybe 21 days or 42 days, or how many days it takes you to create a habit, it becomes a habit and it's something that is important to you. And what I believe each one of you will find as you do this gratitude journal is that it allows you during the day to realize those things you're grateful for, and to just take a moment to think about them and to say, thank you, God. Someone has said the greatest prayer we ever say is thank you, God. So as we create our gratitude journals, we create those opportunities to really be grateful for our oneness with God. And I encourage you to take this time when things are not the way that any of us have ever lived through before, to just take the time to acknowledge your gratitude and to write it down and celebrate those things you're grateful for. Thank you and have a great week.